What's up, Sword family? We are back with another episode of the Teahouse, and tonight we'll be following Midnight's partner Pari's suggestion. That was harder to say than I thought it was going to be. Pari's suggestion on discussing the king in Korea. Now, you're going to have to give me some grace on this one, Pari, because I have not been practicing Korean as long as you have. But I'm going to try. All right? So we're going to be discussing King Yeonsangun of the Joseon Dynasty. And from the article that she sent me and the little bit of research that I've been able to do over the last week, yeah, I can see why she wanted me to go ahead and discuss this guy, because he almost rivals Wu Zetian on the craziness scale at the very least. Now, also, for the people who have not gotten to watch my unboxing yet, the thing that I got last Saturday is a porcelain dragon tea pet, articulated porcelain dragon tea pet. He's fully posable. Look at that little head. Come on, focus. Look at him. Look at him. He doesn't have a goofy expression like some dragons you get. And his little feet move. Both sets, little feet move. And he's completely articulated. I wrap him around my hand like this. And he just kind of sits there on my hand. It is absolutely 100% like my favorite tea pet so far. This is number 4 now, which, as we have discussed at past shows, 4 is a bad number. So, if anybody else would like to go out to JessieTeahouse.com. Hold up. Wait. I got this. Hold on. Wait a minute. I should have done this before. Anybody else wants to go to JessieTeahouse.com and grab me another tea pet? Hey, you know what? I would not say no. Yep. Hold on. Wait. There we go. They have a puffer fish. That's just kind of cute. Rabbits, dogs, sheep, geese. You know what? Just because I can, I'm just going to go ahead and do this. I'm not a big cat person, which I'm sure is going to upset like my entire audience because they're all cat people. But those are kind of cute. Like, I'm not going to lie. Those are kind of cute. We got to go look at this guy right here. I mean, come on now. It looks like a Pokemon. It's just cute. So we're going to go ahead and drop this link in the chat. My birthday's coming up in a little under 2 months. If anybody wants to just, grab me a tea pet so that I can have more than 4. Because, I mean, Little pupper. Tiger. Shiba Inu. There's a monkey. Oh, hey, they have a tea orange. That's kind of cool. Groundhog. I have a tea orange. Changes from green to orange. That's kind of cool. All right, yeah. Now, I'm not going to put my dragon back in the box. Wow, that sounded a lot worse than I. Yeah, very, very not the green room on that one. Hold on. Put my dragon back in the box. Yeah. Oops. That was much worse sounding than I planned it to be. But yes, I am very, very pleased with my dragon tea pet. I think it's adorable. And I did throw the link in as a text box on the video. I will try to remember after we're done here. I will go and drop the link in the description also. So if anybody else wants to grab a dragon, yeah. But yes, tonight we're going to be discussing Yeonsangun, a king so bad that he is, I believe, the only king in the entire Korean history to have all of his royal titles stripped after his death. This was a bad guy. But before we go ahead and get started, I'm going to run through the comments. As always, we got quite a few here. And first through the door, as usual, at 11:53 a.m. Okay, so five and a half hours is not enough of a cutoff. 11:53 this morning. Welcome to the Teahouse. We hope you enjoy your time with us. Pull up a chair, some snacks, and let's put our learning caps on. I hope so. And Dan comes in at 4:30. Good evening. See you in about an hour. And Foxy get it again at 5 o'clock. Not sure if that will show twice or not. My apologies if it does. Still trying to figure out the cutoff. Yeah, it was there. It was there. Showed twice, but that's okay. Carl joining us. Good evening, everyone. Hey, Carl. And hey, Carl. And hi, Carl. And hi, Foxy and Dan. Trey joining us, listening while I drive home. Well, I hope I don't bore you with my rambling about tea pets because they're absolutely adorable. And hi from Kitty. Hey, kitten. Hey, Trey and Kitty. And howdy from Pro. Hey, Pro. Good to see you. Foxy greets Trey and Kitty, who has their snacks ready. I have no snacks. I have nothing. I have this. No. Not going to do that. And Pro greeting Foxy, Carl, Donna, Kitty, and Trey. Yeah, Foxy has Rocky Road ice cream because she decided at 4:30 to send me to the store for ice cream. Good evening from Ruby, and howdy Carl, and Carl greeting Pro and Ruby. All my snacks have been eaten. Yeah, me too. Foxy greeting Ruby and Pro greeting Dan. What's up, sword people? Ugh, still over 100 here, so no cigars for me until probably 10. Yeah, let's see what we're looking at right now. It's not as bad, mostly because of the smoke cover. Well, right now it is currently 94. We have an extreme heat warning until midnight tomorrow night. Let's see, around 10 p.m. for us, it will still be in the 80s. Our low is going to be 72. So the windows will probably stay closed tonight. And Pro greeting midnight. And more midnight greetings. And Donna joins us. Hey, everyone. Hello, Donna. There's Donna. Hi, Donna. Howdy to me and Donna. Not bad pronunciation. I've been practicing. Yeah. Yes, I know he's cute. He is cute. And there's the link for the T-pads. And there's Dawn over on Kick. Those are let me make sure I'm not screwing this up. I think they're ceramic. Yep, they're clay. They are clay cat T-pets. Which ones do I have? Okay. You know what? It might actually be easier to just show you. Because I can just point them out. Let's go ahead and put this back up on the stage. So, okay. I have this one, the bunny. Its ears are broken off because a certain fluffy thing, when he was just a puppy, kind of got into things and the ears got broken off. So I have that one. And I have the water buffalo. And I have the deer. So these three kind of in this corner right here, plus my dragon. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a spitting frog, a tiny little chicken. I honestly admit I kind of like the fat horse. I think it's kind of adorable. I mean, that's just, I don't know, man. There's something about that little guy right there. Just kind of makes me laugh. Chunky horse. The bottom one? That one? That's a money toad. You want to see the money toad? Okay, we'll look at the money toad. That is a looks like he changes color too. Goes from a dark green to kind of a light green when you pour hot water on him. I do like the chunky horse though, but Foxy obviously loves the little money toad. Tiny little tiger and a Shiba Inu. Oh my God, they literally have a teapot tea pet. Wow. That's kind of interesting. Jesse's tiny teapot facts. Does it work? Yes, it does. Would I use it as a series teapot? No, I wouldn't. Would I use it as an unseries teapot? Yes, I would. And we have a dumpster fire from Dawn. Well, yeah. I know, not the green room. I know. And Dawn greeting us from Kick. Do they have a lizard? I don't think so. Looks like no. We have the dragon, the frog, the bunny, the water buffalo, pufferfish. We have a snake, deer, rabbit, chicken, cat trio, chunky horse, geese, money toad, sheep, dog. Yeah, I don't see a lizard. Is that what the kids are calling it now? Well, I don't know what the kids are calling it now. And Dawn now on YouTube. Yes, I know you paid for the ice cream, and you still sent me a 4:30 to go get ice cream. Greetings, Dawn. Greetings, Dawn. Cat Trio. More greetings to Dawn. So cute. Yeah. Money Toad is not too cute. Well, they don't have to be. Yep, there's the Cat Trio. Could be putting your snake in the box. Yeah, I could. Not on camera, but I could, yeah. Yeah. Greetings, greetings, yep. Okay. I could very easily do an entire show just on T-Pets. We're not going to do that. But I probably could. But we actually have a topic. So we're gonna go with the topic. I actually already have a money frog, though. It's not a T-Pet. It sits on my... Yes, I'm wearing shorts. Shut up. It's hot. It sits on my altar. This is not actually a money frog, but it's the same thing. This is it is a Chinese mythological creature that grants money and good luck. It has the shell of a turtle with the head and the feet of a dragon. And he's kind of standing on top of basically a hoard of money. You have coins like these, and then you have these, which are called taels, Taels. So he has his hoard of money, and he has another one riding on his back, and a third one riding on the back of the second one. So that sits on my altar. And like I said in the unboxing video, now I have to name him. But I also have to name all of the others, which is really... It's very, very unusual for me to have something that long and not have named it. You know, when we were playing Nine Dragons and you meet the water dragon after talking to the Forest Shadow, and she makes that whole speech about names are fleeting, given that so that your kind can claim... So that your kind can point and say, that is mine. I do name a lot of my stuff. I mean, I have an entire video on my YouTube channel of my swords with their names. Swords, daggers, bows. I name my stuff. And it does kind of... It's kind of a ritual to say this is mine now because I have named it, so now it's mine. And now, Yeonsangun. Yeah. So, Yeonsangun was the 10th king of the Joseon dynasty. The Joseon dynasty was from roughly 1392 until 1897. 500 years. It is possibly the most well-known Korean dynastic kingdom. Maybe, if people are interested, I will do a Teahouse show later just about this dynasty, because we already did, you know, the Han dynasty and the Tang dynasty in China. So if people want to learn more about the Joseon, I will go ahead and try and do that. But he was the 10th king. And as I already stated, he was also the only king in the entirety of Korean history to have all of his royal titles stripped after he died. His name was erased from all official records. Which I'm sure you're asking, then how do we know anything about him? Well, unofficial records. The people of the country. If someone is this crazy, the people who lived through this are not going to stop talking about it. You might have stripped him from the official records, but people are going to talk. And the crazier you are, the more people are going to talk. So, Yeonsangun was born December 2nd of 1476. In 1504, he discovered that his mother had been poisoned. So he was, let's see, 76. About 28, give or take, depending on how early, or he was like 27, 28 years old. When he was about 5 or 6, his mother was poisoned on orders from his father's court. And everyone around him had known this. Everybody knew that his dad's court poisoned his mom. And they didn't tell him anything. Yeonsangun was the son of King Seongjong, and his mother, Queen Yun, had been stripped of her title years earlier because she scratched the king's face during an argument. In 1482, the court forced her to drink poison. And the whole thing was hidden and buried in palace records. In 1494, at the age of 18, he took the throne. And for 10 years, for the first decade of his reign, everything was fine. He showed good judgment and genuine ability to control the powers of being the king. Then he found out in 1504. When he found out that his mother was forcibly poisoned, he went on a rampage. He hunted down every official that played any role in his mother's death. Scholars, ministers, palace officials, all of them. He hunted them all down and had them executed. In some cases, when he found people that had already previously died before he found out, he had their bodies exhumed and mutilated. Now, in many Asian cultures, remains, and specifically remains of ancestors, are almost deified. So, Yeonsangun, having these people dug up and having their corpses mutilated was a form of punishment, posthumous punishment, that carried enormous symbolic weight. Two senior officials that had recommended the execution were killed, and then Yeonsangun had their heads displayed on poles in the capital. He then forced two surviving court ladies who had conspired against his mother to also drink poison. So he was not messing around. He literally went after every single person that had anything at all to do with his mother's poisoning and had them all of them. Now, this was not the first time something like this had happened. This purge was known as the fourth literati purge of 1504. So there had been previous purges of the literati, the scholars, the ministers, the court officials. There had been three of them before this. But there was some logic behind this. These people had something to do with his mother's poisoning. What he did next? I don't know why. Like, there was logic. Like I said, there was logic to killing all these people. There's no logic to what he does next. None whatsoever. But looking at it from now, over 500 years later, it's hard not to laugh. Oh, yeah, he was big mad. Yep. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, it was a psychotic break. Think about it. Okay. Your mother dies when you're 6 years old. Yeah, remember this? 6? When we did the number gestures? 6 years old, your mother dies. And for the next 22 years, she died. And then you find out that she was poisoned. And not poisoned by an enemy, not poisoned by someone outside the family or someone outside the palace. No, the palace itself, the place that you have lived your entire life, those people poisoned your mother because she scratched your father's face during a jealous argument. Just a little scratch. And they poison her. Yeah, sounds like you slipped over the edge. Yeah. Just wait. Because it gets crazier. So, the Seongun one. I'm trying, Pari. I'm trying. The Seongun one was Korea's National Confucian Academy. Basically, like Korea's Harvard, It was the most prestigious institution of learning, founded in 1398. The people who went there trained for decades to become officials that ran the Joseon dynasty. Being admitted there was considered an honor. Serving there was the highest form of intellectual life in the Joseon kingdom. So this was a prestigious university, Confucian Academy. This was a big deal. So, well, yeah. Different times, different ways of thinking, although the same kind of thing still happens in gangs today. You're not wrong. But as you'll find in a couple of days, when we go back into the Lotus Assassin Fortress in Jade Empire, leadership in certain circles cycles quickly. And, accidents happen. But you'll see that on Monday. I'm really looking forward to this. You don't understand. This entire game, and I know this is a slight tangent, but give me a minute. This entire game, you've been taught that the Lotus Assassins are this dark, shadowy force. They're terrifying. They're scary. They're, they're whispers that you hear in your nightmares. And then you get to actually see it and witness it. And bring the entire... I mean, this is a bit of a spoiler, but I mean, come on. You can probably figure this out. You're going to bring the entire organization down around itself from the inside. It is fun. And I have no qualms about anything that I do inside that fortress. And that's about all I'm going to say without spoiling what's going to happen. But back to the academy. So you have this huge, prestigious academy. Like I said, Harvard, Yale. You kind of get the impression. Yeonsangun shut it down. Shut down the entire university. Then he converted the grounds into his personal pleasure palace and filled it with women that he conscripted from across Korea. So he took this prestigious university, this academy, this center of learning that created Joseon officials, and he turned it into a brothel. And anyone, scholar, official, that protested this was beaten, exiled, or executed. I cannot stress enough you have to try and imagine, if you will, someone taking, like I said, Harvard. We'll just go with Harvard because that's the first one I thought of. Someone taking the Harvard University, shutting the entire thing down, the whole campus, just shut it all down. Then filling the entire university with hookers. This is what this man did. Why did he do this? Nobody knows. Nobody has any idea. This is going back to Foxy's psychotic break. He snapped. He went crazy. Nice. My kind of guy. Isn't that like today's? No, because see, at least in some, there's a little bit of learning going on in most today's colleges. It's not just, I mean, I know that Hollywood would have you believe that like sororities and fraternities are all about parties and sex and drugs and rock and roll, but there's some learning going on. Not much, but some. Yeonsangun said, no more learning, pleasure palace. This is my own, and it's my pleasure palace. It's my personal pleasure palace. Mine. Yeah, bro is right. Yeah, gee, that kind of anti-intellectual couldn't happen to. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's 100% right. Yep. But that's not all. He also seized private estates and Buddhist temples across the capital, Seoul. He organized hunting parties that destroyed farmland, terrorizing the peasants who depended on that farmland for their livelihood. He also beat some of his concubines to death and forced government ministers to crawl on all fours as his personal entertainment. So not only did he turn the most prestigious university in all of Korea into his own personal brothel, he also seized homes, temples, destroyed farmlands, beat some of those concubines that he conscripted to death, and forced government ministers to crawl on all fours as forms of entertainment. That part I'm kind of okay with. On your knees. Now this one is going to go back when we were talking about Korean writing a couple weeks ago. Remember that? Yeonsangun was the one that banned the Hangul script. There were citizens posting criticisms of Yeonsangun's rule written in Hangul because it was easier for common people to use. We were talking about this, remember? Hangul was made because it was simpler. And the elite wanted to keep using the Chinese characters because it was a symbol of your higher learning. So when he found out that people had been posting these criticisms in Hangul script, he made it a capital offense. This is kind of pertinent to what's currently going on with the American political party in power. Yeonsangun made it a capital offense to write anything critical of the throne. Where have we heard this before? It should be illegal to criticize the president. Yeah, Yeonsangun did this. But he had a specific hatred of Hangul because the common people were using that script to criticize him. He wanted, again, this is pertinent to today, he wanted to silence the opposition. He wanted the people that didn't like him to not be able to speak. Not just his officials, he also wanted to silence the people. Where have we heard this before? He did a 180 and went to hookers and blow. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. For 10 years, he is a competent ruler. He's doing everything right. And then he finds out that his mother was poisoned by his father's court and just, yeah. He's making enemies all over. Yep. Yes, I would also pay for government officials to be forced to crawl on all fours. Punishing the entire country for killing his mom. Well, how long before he got impeached? We'll get there. The higher learning he destroyed. Exactly. It only took 2 years for the people to have had enough of his shit. Remember, he found out in 1406 about the poison of his mother. 1506. 1504. God damn it. 1504, he found out about his mother's poisoning. By 1506, even his closest supporters had had enough of his shit. And a bunch of government officials organized a coup. So there's your answer, Carl. It took 2 years. 2 years. September 2nd of 1506, they stormed the palace and arrested the king. The coup was known as the Joseon Reform, named after the prince they placed on the throne in his place. Yeonsangun was stripped of his royal title, exiled to Ganghwa Island, and less than 2 months later, at the age of 30, he died. Officially, they said he contracted some illness on the island, got sick, and died. Immediately, after stripping Yeonsangun of his title, the Seongjin Won was restored to its original purpose. The scholars returned to the academy. Hangul was decriminalized. And Yeonsangun's name was deliberately excluded from the posthumous temple name system. In Korean culture, when an ancestor dies, they're given a posthumous name. A honorific title after death. It connects all of the kings through the line to the ancestors and to heaven itself. Yeonsangun's name was excluded. Purposefully, deliberately. They did not give him that title. In this culture, ancestral honor is one of, if not the most important thing in the entire universe. So this was, to not put too fine of a point on it, and we've been going for almost an hour, so I think I can say this, this was the ultimate fuck you to Yeonsangun. This was, you were unhinged, insane, despot, tyrant, and you're done. You're gone. You're out. We're finished with you. We want nothing more to do with you. So there's your answer. Yeah, he did that much damage in 2 years. Shut down the academy, seized temples, seized private estates, destroyed farmlands, beat concubines. 2 years. Oh, I don't know if the island was all that rough. Crash out. A 2-year-long crash out. Now, historians have debated for over 500 years whether Yeonsangun was evil, which I don't think is the case, or whether the trauma of learning about his mother's murder combined with pressure of monarchical power created what Foxy said, a psychotic break. A complete psychological breakdown. You have to try and put yourself into the mindset of someone. Their mother dies at 6 years old. 12 years later, you ascend to the throne. You have absolute power. You are the king. You are the man. You control everything. And for 10 years, you have all this power. And you're fine. You're doing things right. The people like you. You are a competent ruler. And then you find out that death 22 years ago, not only was your mother poisoned, but again, she wasn't poisoned by a rival. She wasn't poisoned by an enemy. She was poisoned by the court that you now control. You are now faced with the fact that the people that you have grown up around were responsible for your mother's murder. And not only that, they didn't tell you. They didn't tell you anything for 22 years. They kept it from you. They buried it in the palace records so deep that it took you, the person in control of those records, a decade to find out this information. Because I don't know about you. I don't know about you. But I love my mother very much. We don't agree on much anymore. She's kind of fallen down the MAGA pipeline of believing everything that Fox News says, and I try not to make this political, So I'm not going to say more than that. But if my mother died now, today, I would spend however long it took to try and find out how and why that happened. So you know that if Yeonsangun was aware that his mother was poisoned, the minute that he gained that throne, he would have started going through those records. Now, we don't have any indication that he knew she was poisoned. But still, your mother dies when you're 6 years old. As soon as you get that power, you're going to be like, well, why did she die? Was it an illness? Was it a hereditary issue? Was it like, did she have a bad heart? 10 years it took him to find out what happened to his mother. And he snapped. Now, this, we don't know. Sounds like his mother might have had some issues too. I don't know. Hereditary issues and stress. Yeah. This would be an interesting deep dive for you to do, Carl, honestly. I know you're not doing your drunken psychology show anymore, but I think this would be interesting, like a case study for you to look more into this. Because he just snapped, man. I don't think, because like I said, modern historians have debated on whether he was just evil or if trauma made him break. And I think it's the latter. I don't think he was evil. Because if he was just evil, why were the first 10 years of his reign decent? Why was it that it was not until after he found out that his mother was poisoned by the court that he ruled over now that he started doing all the bad stuff? If he was just evil, why wouldn't he immediately go to evil? Why would he wait 10 years? Why would it have to be the catalyst of finding out about his mother's poisoning before all the bad stuff happened? I don't think he was evil. I think he broke. I think it was trauma combined with having that power. No, I don't think it was that. I mean, that kind of thing did happen. You know, when we talked about Teahouse, the pirate queen, she ended up marrying her adopted son. Yeah, deep betrayal is right. And this is a very Buddhist comment. I love this, Carl. Yes, we all have the possibility of a monster inside, but we all control it. Sometimes the trauma opens it up. Yes, that is a very Buddhist statement right there. Buddhist and Taoist, actually, now that I think about it. Oh, sorry. Everyone knows the symbol. What people call the yin yang, which is actually called a Taiji symbol. There's a little bit of dark in the light, a little bit of light in the dark. Balance. Yeah. So did I. And Confucianism, as a matter of fact. I carry this, the Tao Te Ching. I bought this, honestly, funnily enough, from our local community college in the bookstore. I have had this thing since my first semester of college, which was in 1999. So I've had this thing almost 30 years. I call this my Bible. Right here in the cover, I wrote down some of my favorites, some of my favorite passages. Things like, need to get past forward. This one. Number 2. When people see some things as ugly, when people see some things as beautiful, other things become ugly. When people see some things as good, other things become bad. Being and non-being create each other. Difficult and easy support each other. Long and short define each other. High and low depend on each other. Before and after follow each other. Therefore, the master acts without doing anything and teaches without saying anything. Things arise and she lets them come. Things disappear and she lets them go. She has but doesn't possess, acts but doesn't expect. When her work is done, she forgets it. That's why it lasts forever. Hey, look, a TwitchBot. Go away, TwitchBot. Yes, I studied Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism. As well as a few others, but yeah. Now, modern scholars will argue that the Confucian officials that surrounded Yeonsangun for his entire life were not innocent victims. The court system was very, very corrupt, and his initial rage was justified. Like I said, killing the people that had something to do with his mother's death, completely understandable. Absolutely, that makes sense. There was a logic, there was an understanding, there was a justification. But everything that happened after that was just not justifiable. His vengeance arc, for the writers amongst us, we all know about the vengeance arc, it never ended. There was never a limit to his rage. Why? Why did he go after the Confucian Academy? Why did he turn it from a academy of learning to a pleasure palace? Why did he seize private estates and Buddhist temples? Why did he trample and destroy farmland? Why did he go out and conscript women to join his pleasure palace, make them courtesans, and then beat them to death in fits of rage? Making the government ministers crawl on all fours, have fun with that. I'm fine with that one. I'm okay with that. But all the other things, hey, thank you, Joe. Banhammer. Hard to put the monster back. Yeah, this is true. Never hear he suddenly became sane. I would argue against that, honestly. I think it's possible. It's unlikely. It's highly unlikely, but I think it's possible. Oh yeah, that's right. I'll fix that later. I need to give you ban power over on Twitch. I keep meaning to do that, and then I keep forgetting because I'm almost 46 years old, and I don't always remember when I'm done with things. But during my research on this character, I discovered something very, very interesting. And Pari, if you don't know this, they made a movie about him. They made a movie about Yeonsangun. It is over a decade old. It is called The Treacherous. It is a 2015 Korean period drama about Yeonsangun. Now, reading the movie synopsis, it sounds like they took some liberties with the actual history. They don't mention his mother's poisoning, from what I can tell. And it actually makes a minister that was a close friend of Yeonsangun and makes him the bad guy. It makes him the villain. Yeonsangun is actually almost a minor character in this movie. And it blames, this makes sense, it blames the courtiers, the royal court. They, according to this movie, are the treacherous ones. Not the king, but the courtiers. According to this movie, the ministers and the vassals are trying to offer up women to control the king. Im Sung-jae recruits women from all across the Joseon dynasty to gain ultimate power. He, Im Sung-jae, the vassal to the king, the minister, is the one that abducts noble women, commoners, peasants. And Im Sung-jae and his father, Im Seo-hong, select an incredibly beautiful woman named Dan-hee as their personal protege to seduce the king. Meanwhile, a courtesan named Jang Nak-soo has the most influence on the king. And this is actually an actual person. Jang Naksu was the most notorious consort of Yeonsangun. So they have actual people in this movie. And she enlists a woman from an enslaved family who was trained to be a courtesan to counter Dan Hee. Meanwhile, these two courtesans in training are going through rigorous training to become ultimate courtesans. So this movie, it sounds like, from what I'm reading, takes what actually happened, actual people from the court, and says, no. Yeonsangun was fine. He was okay. The government ministers were the bad guys. Which, let's be real here, they were. They absolutely were. Because they had been, in some cases, part of the palace from when Yeonsangun was a child. And some of them did have something to do with his mother's poisoning. But it sounds to me, and if I can find this movie, I might actually watch it. It sounds to me like they're trying to rehabilitate Yeonsangun. To make him not the bad guy. To make him a patsy, a pawn that the ministers and the vassals corrupted him. If I can find it, 2015, maybe, but it does sound like they're trying to rehabilitate Yeonsangun so that he's not the ultimate, the main villain here. Which again, the ministers were bad guys. They were. But I don't know if you can take all of the blame off of the king. And from what I'm reading here, that's what it sounds like they're trying to do. They're trying to say, no. He was fine. They were bad. When in actuality, they're both bad. They're both crazy. They both want power and revenge. But if I get an opportunity, I absolutely will sit down and watch this. If I can find it somewhere. It's a dancing something. Imagining Ultimate Courtesan as something like Ultimate Warrior. Well, bang. Yeah. Yeah. Have to check it out, yeah. Good idea for a reality show. Don't give them ideas, Carl, please. We already have some of the dumbest ideas for reality shows. Don't give them ideas. Do I really want to? Yes, I do. I actually want to talk about this. Okay. Long as they show the brothel. Well, HBO did have a documentary series back in the day about the Bunny Ranch in Nevada. So, and yes, you actually saw the bunnies with clients. It was HBO late night back in the day. If you listen to the radio when you're playing Grand Theft Auto games, GTA 4, was it 4? Yeah, GTA 4. If you're listening to the radio, you will catch commercials because it's the radio. And one of the commercials that's played, they only have so much content because they can only have so much data in these games. And so if you're listening for a long period of time, you're going to hear things repeat. I think there's only like maybe 5 to 10 ads in this game, and they repeat. One of the ads that pops up is for a reality show called America's Next Top Hooker, where it's literally a reality show of prostitutes, or potential prostitutes, I suppose, in a reality show to become a hooker. Now, hold on, Pro. Hold on a second. A few years ago, I found out, might have been the Playboy channel, actually had a reality show that was basically America's Next Top Hooker. Reality, mirroring fiction. It actually became a full-blown reality show. Yeah. I can't tell you what it was actually called because I wasn't really paying that much attention, but it actually kind of happened. So there you go. All right. I am going to go eat. Well, actually, we're going to cook and then eat, but regardless, we've been going for almost an hour and a half. So I will be back on Monday to finally take down the Lotus Assassins. Thank you, Carl. I appreciate it. I really appreciate that. I try. I know I say this all the time, but I really try. And even when I'm ranting, I try and be informative. Don't have nightmares. About what? America's Next Top Hooker? Are you going to come say hi now that I'm ending things? Come on up. Oh, you got to stretch? Come on. Come on. Come say hi. Come over here. Come on. Come on. Come on. What are you being shy for? Come on. Up. What are you being shy for? You come in here. Now he's going to run away. Good show. I liked it. Thank you. Great knowledge as you. Thank you, guys. Really. I appreciate it. Be late Monday because we have a visitor. That's fine. No worries. Pinky wiggles. I have a harder time doing pinky wiggles than I have doing this. I do this fine, but doing this finger, it doesn't want to. Yeah, we'll try to remember. What the hell is that? Ah, that's a piggy. Okay, that's a pink wiggle. Nice. Okay. Oh, don't forget to like. Okay, guys. I will be back on Monday. Possibly, depending on, various factors, might be making an appearance on Creatives of Play on Wednesday night over on Indie CD. And if not, I will be back next Saturday for another, hopefully, entertaining and informative episode of the Teahouse. Thank you, Pro, Night Midnight, Night Carl, Night Kitty. Have a great weekend, great evening, and rest of your weekend, everyone. And I will see you all next time. I love you all. You are all amazing people. And I am blessed, absolutely blessed, to call every single one of you my sword family. Good night, Ruby, and 再见.